listeners, and welcome to the first program in our series, Let's Learn Home Economics, which is produced for grade 8 and anybody else who has an interest in the subject. My name is Queen Kangotwi. Today, we will learn about the waste disposal. Please have a pen and notebook ready so that you can make notes of the important points. And don't forget to take part in the quiz at the end of the program. The garbage disposal is a process of collecting and get rid of waste materials from municipal jurisdictions' spaces. The collected waste should be disposed in eco-friendly and safe manner, or else will become annoying and health hazards to human beings and environment. I hope today's program will help us to understand and be aware of why municipalities collect waste materials at our houses on a weekly basis. The program today will shed more on waste disposal. At the end of this program, you should be able to discuss possible ways for the disposal of household waste in an environmental friendly way. Recycling, making of compost, municipal refuse removal, legal and organized dumping, as well as state reasons why burning and unorganized dumping is not recommended.
I don't understand our neighbors. Often they dump their household waste at the corner of our house, no matter how many times my uncle speaks to them. The area where they dump does not look hygienic at all, and it's stinky. My uncle doesn't know what to do.
Oh, I understand you, Samuel, and I've seen it around the town. We have to keep the surroundings of our houses clean at all times. This will contribute to the cleanness of our town and give value to our houses. So, I am advising you to tell your uncle to visit environmental health officers at the municipality office. The officers will take actions on that, either to have a meeting with the community, people to advise them, and will elect a sign written no dumping site.
Okay, Gebhard. Thank you very much for your information, Gebhard. I will inform my uncle to meet the Environment Health Office soon as possible.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Miss.
Samuel and Gebhard, would you please sit down? Alright, we dispose our household waste without knowing that some types of wastes are hazardous and can contaminate the environment if not handled and discarded properly. So, it is always safe to dispose the wastes safely without the risk of environmental contamination. Our lesson for today will discuss on the waste disposal. Gebhard, would you please mention the ways for the disposal of household waste in an environmental friendly way?
Our community should be educated on ways to dispose household waste in an environmental friendly way, such as recycling, making of compost, municipal refuse removal, and legal and organized dumping.
Thank you very much, Gebhard. You are right. Then we will discuss the methods of disposing household waste in safe manner. The community should have a depth understanding on disposing waste without risking their health. We start with recycling. As a community, we have to convert waste or used materials into reusable material, reduce emissions, conserve energy, and reduce pollution. The examples of recycling material are glasses, papers, metals, plastics. The municipal refuse removal is mainly practiced in municipal area because it helps to prevent additional pollution and can improve public health. Polluted air may increase the risk of respiratory infections. If the waste are disposed in a friendly way, has a low chance of getting into water supply and cause infections and diseases to residents. The legal and organized dumping sites in municipality area are marked by a drum. The drums are green or yellow in color that can be used to dispose refusal in municipal area. They can be used to dump waste in town and cities to prevent the illegal dumping and contribute to the cleanliness in towns or cities. If the residents throw garbage everywhere, it will create a serious health hazard, create breed sites of flies, mosquitoes, and rats that may cause infections. Please, Samuel, tell us the reasons for making compost a friendly way of disposing waste.
Yes, ma'am. I have learned from my uncle how to make compost, and let me share what I have learned from him. Making of compost, we have used unwanted garden refuse. Examples like branches, leaves, papers, leftovers for food, clinging from vegetables, and mix them in a trench, then cover with sand, water, and decomposed material for 3 weeks, then can be used as garden fertilizers. By composting makes us less dependent on landfills and decreases greenhouse gas emissions.
Thank you, Miss Emmanuel. I have learned a lot on the dispose of household waste in a friendly manner. I will share with my family and neighbors in order to keep our environment clean to prevent the spread of diseases such as cholera and hepatitis.
Thank you, Gerbert. Hoping everyone will do the same. Now we will look at the reasons why burning and unorganized dumping is not recommended in towns and cities. Samuel, would you please tell us?
Yes, miss. Last year, I have experienced a neighbor who was burning household refusal unknowingly that where she set the fire was on the cables of electricity. This caused a fire hazard and burned the electricity box that was nearby. This was very dangerous to the neighbors. So the community should understand the dangers of burning in towns and cities, meaning to burning of waste in towns and cities is regarded as unorganized and may cause fire hazards, air pollution, and health hazards, and ground pollution, and should be discouraged.
Excellent, Samuel. You made it very clear. In addition, burning waste is not recommended in towns and cities because houses are close to each other and it may cause fire hazards. The burning of waste contributes to the mixture released gases that is harmful to humans. When plastic and food waste are burned, they produce dioxin that may cause cancer. The other harmful effects of burning waste is pollution, as it can damage the ozone layer. Would you please tell us what we have learned today, Gerbert?
Yes, miss. I have learned ways to dispose household waste in a friendly way, such as recycle, municipal refuse removal, and rega. We have shed more lights on the reason of each way. For example, burning may cause fire hazards if contact with electricity cable. The reason why it's not good to dump waste at corners of our houses. They cause untidy environments and create breeding site of flies and rats that cause diseases and the bad smell also.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. But before we say goodbye, here are your questions for the day. List 4 types used to discard household waste safely. Describe one of the reasons you have mentioned above. This program was written by Herta Maria Ita Shemuketa. So until next time, take care and stay safe.
This program was brought to you by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and the Commonwealth of Learning.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to our second program in our series. Let's Learn Home Economics, which is produced for grade 8 and anybody else who has an interest in the subject. My name is Anna Iambo, and today we will learn about kitchen safety. Please have a pen and a notebook ready so that you can make notes of the important points. And don't forget to take part in the quiz at the end of the program. It's important to keep kitchen safety in order to prevent burning the kitchen or chop off your fingers, just to mention a few. I hope today's program will shed a little light on the kitchen safety. At the end of this program, you should be able to 1. Identify and explain the main causes of accidents in the kitchen. 2. State ways to prevent accidents in the kitchen. And 3. Explain the first treatment of minor burns and cuts.
You know what, Rahab? Next week we have a double period and Miss said we will do our first practical, and I'm not really comfortable with using equipment in the lab since I've never really used them before.
For some reasons, I'm worried about safety in the kitchen, especially using knives.
It really disturbs me. Before we begin with cooking, it is really needed that we know how to be safe in the lab.
Good morning, learners.
Good morning, Maris.
Menesia and Rahab, please take a seat. Anything bothering the two of you?
I was talking to Menesia that I'm worried about the practical that's scheduled next week. I am not comfortable with the using of the equipment such as big knives.
All right, Rahab. Our topic for today will be kitchen safety. Would you please pay attention and you'll get answers to your concern, Rahab. We are going to identify the main causes of accidents in the kitchen. Menesia?
Well, the main causes of accidents in the kitchen are electricity, sharp objects, for example, knives, forks, stoves, kitchen detergents, floors, cupboards, tablecloths, tea towels, and curtains, as well as movements.
Very good, Menesia. These are some causes of accidents in the kitchen. Let's explain one by one. So, electricity. Do not overload the electric circuit by running several items from an adapter plug. Never touch plugs with wet hands. Always switch off the socket before removing or inserting the plug. Repair plugs that make a rattling sound or a cracking sound when they are on immediately. And with sharp objects, for example knives and forks, always use them on a chopping board, cutting away from your body. And with stoves, always turn the handles of saucepan inwards over the stove to prevent others from knocking them over. Turn off the heat immediately after use. Use mitts to hold the hot items. Never leave a frying pan with hot cooking oil unattended. And never overheat cooking oil. It might ignite. Do not allow pans to boil dry. And be careful to turn off gas stoves after using them. Class, would you please explain the following causes of accidents in the kitchen? Kitchen detergents, floors, cupboards, tablecloths, tea towels and curtains, as well as movements. Rahab, can you please tell us?
We have things such as kitchen detergents. For example, handy. Label the disinfection solution clearly. Floors means wipe the spillage immediately to prevent someone from spilling on them. Do not polish floor surface too highly. Could be slippery. Avoid curled edges of the floor covering. Cupboards, do not store heavy items in higher cupboards and keep them closed at all times. tablecloths, tea towels, and curtains. Do not hang wet towels over a gas cooker and prevent the wind blowing curtains near gas flames. Movements. So you should not run in a kitchen and avoid walking around with heavy, hot or sharp items.
Class, you should also know that a kitchen is a zone that contains a lot of dangerous items. So we have to be aware and able to handle accidents like burns or cuts. In the next section, we'll focus on the ways We'll focus on ways on how to treat minor cuts and burns, as well as how to handle minor cuts. Menesia, can you please tell us?
Sure, ma'am. We have to be very careful at all times when doing practicals, and if someone cuts him or herself during the practicals, we must have basic skills to give him or her first aid, such as wear gloves, put pressure on the wound for 10 minutes to stop the bleeding, wash the wound with mild antiseptic or medical alcohol, cover the wound with wound dressing, and refer to the clinic if it is deep.
Excellent, Menesia. Let's explain the way to treat minor burns. Now let us follow the first aid treatment for the minor burns. In order goes as follows. Put on the gloves, monitor the injured person's breathing, cool the burnt area with cold or ice water, cover the burnt area with a clean cotton cloth, and refer the person to the clinic if the burn is deep. I hope we learned a lot today. Rahab, can you please tell us what you learned today?
We have learned the causes of accidents in the kitchen of home economics, such as electricity, sharp objects, for example, knives, forks, movements, ways to prevent the causes of accidents in the kitchen, for example, floor that do not polish the kitchen floor. It makes floor to be slippery. Wipe the spills on the floor. Ways to treat minor cuts and burns in the kitchen. And it's advisable to keep a first aid kit in the kitchen because it is the most dangerous place in the house.
Thank you, Rahab. And that brings us to the end of today's program. But before we say goodbye, here are your questions for the day. Give one reason for the following statements. A. List 3 causes of accidents in the kitchen and explain how they can be prevented. And B. Explain the first aid treatment of a minor cut. This program was written by Herta Maria Ita Shemuketa. So until next time, take care and be safe.
This program was brought to you by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and the Commonwealth of Learning.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the third program in our series. Let's learn home economics, which are produced for grade 8 and anybody else who has an interest in the subject. My name is Anna Yambo, and today we'll learn about fish. Please have a pen and a notebook ready so that you can make notes of important points. And do not forget to take part in our quiz at the end of the program. All food, if handled appropriately, can be safe. I hope today's program will shed a little light on fish found in Namibia. At the end of this program, you should be able to A. List commonly available fish in Namibia, which are sea fish like hake, snook, haddock, cod, callion, and steenbras, and freshwater fish like Zambezi bream, barbel, catfish, tiger, and tilapia. And B. Explain the importance of fish in the Namibian diet. C. Understand suitable cooking methods for fish. And D. Suggest suitable cooking methods for fish. Good morning, class.
Good morning, Miss.
Class, fish is commonly eaten in Namibia because they are the healthiest food on the planet. Delicious, easy to prepare, and cheap compared to red meat. So our topic for today is fish. Let's mention the fish that are commonly available in Namibia. Natesia?
They are freshwater fish and seawater fish.
Good, Natesia. We have commonly fish found in Namibia, and their examples are as follows. Seawater or marine fish, such as whitefish, which are hake or stockfish, haddock fish or smoked hake, kinglet, cabello. Oily fish are snook, callion, harda, Cape salmon, and mackerel. Shellfish include hard shellfish, where we have crab, crayfish, lobsters, prawn, and shrimp. And for soft-bodied ones, we have shellfish, mussel, oyster, periwinkles, octopus, calamari, and scallops. Class, list the second class of fish found in Namibia. Taimi, would you tell us?
The second classes are for fish that we catch from rivers, oceana dams, and called freshwater fish. For examples are barbel, catfish, tilapia, and Zambezi bream.
Very good, Taimi. We have mentioned the class of fish found in Namibia. Now let's dwell on the importance of fish in Namibian diet. The importance of fish in our country is: fish is very cheap compared to red meat. It can be used as a meat substitute. It contains less fat than meat, and it can be digested easily than meat. In addition to that, fish lowers the risk of heart attack and strokes. Let's understand the nutritional value of fish. Natesia, would you please tell us?
The nutritional values of fish are: fish contain proteins that consist of high biological value of protein. Fish contain mostly unsaturated fat acids, omega-3, fatty acids, and seawater fish are good source of iodine. Fish contains little iron, but tinned fish are good source of calcium, mostly in bones. All fish contain sodium, chlorine, and potassium.
Thank you, Natesia. In addition to that, there are other nutritional values of fish, such as phosphorus, which is the largest nutrient in fish. Seawater fish is a good source of fluoride, and also oily fish and white fish contain vitamin A and D. When cooking fish, you must consider that there are suitable cooking methods. Taimi, would you like to share them with us?
Sure, ma'am. The following are the different ways of cooking fish. They can be steamed, poaching, shallow frying, deep frying, baking, grilling, microwave, and smoking. And I also have a question, ma'am. I would like to know, what is the reason for serving fish with a slice or wedge of lemon?
Very good question, Taimi. Well, lemon is used for garnishing, enhancing the flavor, and it gives the fish a firmer flesh. We'll discuss this more in detail in the next lesson about fish. Natesia, please tell us what you learned today.
We have learned about the classification of fish, such as seawater fish, which is oily and white fish, freshwater fish, and the examples of fish types. We have also discussed the importance and nutritional values of fish.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. But before we say goodbye, here are your questions for the day. Classify the following fish. A. King clip. B. Tilapia. C. Snook. D. Caballo. E. Callion. And F. Zambezi bream. This program was written by Herta Maria Ita Shemuketa. And until next time, take care and be safe.
This program was brought to you by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and the Commonwealth of Learning.
Hello listeners, and welcome to our first program in our series. Let's learn home economics, which is produced for grade 8 and anybody else who has an interest in the subject. My name is Anna Yambo, and today we are going to talk about the 10 food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia. Please have a pen and a notebook ready so that you can make notes of the important points. Do not forget to take part in the quiz at the end of the program. Food and nutrition guidelines help people to promote a healthy lifestyle and to recognize good food choices for a healthful diet. I hope today's program will shed on the 10 food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia. At the end of this program, you should be able to 1. List 10 food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia, and 2. Describe the 10 food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia.
You know what, Caleb?
What is it, brah?
I have observed that people in my location do not eat healthy food at all. They eat more red meat, like beef, junk food, and consume a lot of alcohol. I feel something should be done to educate our community to eat healthy food to live a healthy lifestyle.
I agree with you, Cher. I have observed the same. The consuming of alcohol is a big concern in our society. People eat more of food containing too much of sugar, salt, and refinery products. No wonder many citizens are suffering from high blood pressure, diabetes, and overweight. Something should be done seriously to save our nation from nutritional deficiency and disorders.
Oh yes, Caleb. Let's ask Miss Emmanuel. She might give us some ideas.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mrs. Emmanuel.
Cher and Caleb, please sit down. What's the matter?
Sorry, miss. We are discussing the unhealthy eating habits of our people in our community.
This is a serious concern, and more information is needed to the community to have ideas on how to choose and eat nutrition food every meal.
Thank you, Cher and Cable. There is a need of nutritional education among our community. All right, class, that discussion is related to our topic today. Many Namibians are suffering from nutritional disorders and deficiencies. The nutritional disorders and deficiencies is caused by inadequate food intake in terms of quality and quantity. It's related to food with insufficient amount of nutrients. The imbalanced intake of food resulted into people to suffer from obesity, diabetes, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and coronary heart diseases. Caleb, can you tell us any 5 food and nutritional guidelines for Namibia?
Okay, Miss Emmanuel. Eating of variety foods. Eat fruits and vegetables every day. Eat more fish. Eat beans or meat regularly. Use whole grains products.
Brilliant, Caleb. There are other guidelines, and they are as follows. Use only iodized salt, but less. Eat at least 3 meals a day. Avoid drinking alcohol. Consume clean, safe water and food. Achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. Now let's discuss the guidelines one by one. Eat a variety of foods. By eating many different types of food, one can ensure that all nutrients and other substances needed by the body are consumed, and eating food with insufficient nutrients can make a person malnourished or underweight. It causes diseases such as anorexia, marasmus, and kwashiorkor. Eating of fruits and vegetables every day, this helps to prevent micronutrient deficiencies because they are rich in vitamins A and C, such as anemia, night blindness, and pellagra that are more common in Namibia, and they are highly recommended because they reduce the risk of cancer and other chronic diseases, including coronary heart diseases. Eat more fish means regular consumption of fish can help prevent malnutrition, and fish are low in fat than meat. Shea, can you please explain for us any 3 guidelines?
Okay, Miss Emmanuel. Eating of beans or eating meat regularly. Meat refers to beef, pork, game, poultry, and fish. Beans are legumes families such as dried beans, dried groundnuts, dried lentils, and dried peas. And meat and beans are the good source of protein. Iron and B vitamins. Using whole grain products means a whole grain wheat and foods made of whole grain flour contain protein, fat, fiber, and useful amount of calcium, iron, and B vitamins. A high intake of whole grain flour can help us reduce the risk of getting the following diseases: pellagra, obesity, and diabetes. Use only iodized salt, but use less. Lack of iodine in the diet may cause iodine disorder, IDD, such as goiter and mental retardation. It is recommended to add iodized salt in your food. High blood pressure is caused by the high intake of salt, so it is advised to consume less salt to reduce the risk of high blood pressure.
Excellent, Shea. You can end there. The guidelines are tools that are used to direct an individual to understand ways of living a healthy lifestyle. Let's continue to discuss the guidelines. Eat at least 3 meals a day. By having 3 balanced meals a day, this guarantees that the body has received all nutrients and other substances it requires. By eating 3 meals a day, guarantees that the food intake is spread evenly throughout the day. Avoid drinking alcohol. Alcohol abuse causes many health, economic, and social problems. Regular alcohol consumption may lead to addiction. The regular consumption of alcohol in large amounts increases the risk of developing high blood pressure, strokes, heart and liver diseases, and certain cancers. Heavy drinkers are at risk of developing malnutrition and pellagra. I think Caleb can tell us on the consume of clean, safe water and food.
Consume clean and safe water and food means the quality of water and food is important for good nutrition and health. Handling water unhygienic during food preparation and storage of food may cause various health problems in people. Contaminated water and food are the main cause of diarrhea, cholera, and hepatitis in our community.
The guideline to discuss is achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. Overweight or obese people are at risk of serious diseases because of the inappropriate diet or physical inactive lifestyle, such as hypertension, heart diseases, stroke, diabetes, and certain types of cancers. A healthy body weight should be achieved and maintained to avoid such diseases. Underweight people are at risk of serious health problems. Inadequate diets of children can lead to underweight that cause kwashiorkor and marasmus. But before we call it a day, I would like to give the following questions before I give you the activity of today. State the food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia referred to the following statements. A. What supplies nutrients to the body to prevent anemia, night blindness, and pellagra? Share.
Yes, ma'am. A. Eating vegetables and fruits every day.
Wow, Shia.
Excellent. B. What usually contains less fat than meat, which prevents coronary heart diseases?
Miss, I think it's the consuming of more fish.
Good, Caleb. That's right. And the last question, which is C. Overweight and obesity are often caused by excessive food intake. What can you do to avoid the risks?
Yes, ma'am. Achieve and maintain a healthy body weight. Am I right, ma'am?
Yes, you are. And this brings us to the end of today's program. But before we say goodbye, here's a question for the day. Comment on the necessity of food and nutrition guidelines for Namibia. A. Eat more fish. B. Use whole grain products. And C. Eat 3 meals a day. This program was written by Ms. Herta Maria Ita Shemuketa. So until next time, take care and be safe.
This program was brought to you by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and the Commonwealth of Learning.
Hello listeners, and welcome to the 5th program in our series. Let's Learn Home Economics, which is produced for grade 8 and anybody else who has an interest in the subject. My name is Queen Kangotwi. Today we will learn about the financial transactions. Please have a pen and notebook ready so that you can make notes of the important points. And don't forget to take part in the quiz at the end of the program. One of the consumer responsibility is prompt payment. It means that the consumer must pay the goods and services rendered to him or her in a retailer. Financial transactions is an event which involves money or payment of goods and services. I hope today's program will shed a little light on financial transactions. At the end of this program, you should be able to define cash and credit transactions, list the different types of transactions, or cash on delivery, cash with order, credit, installment sales, charge accounts and open accounts, laybys and credit cards. List the advantages and disadvantages of cash and credit transactions.
I have seen some really nice shoes in Headgirls. They are $400, but I only have $250. I asked my aunt to help me, and she promised to give me $200 at the end of the month. I am just scared that I will find them finished. What can I do, Juniors?
Tobias, oh bad. Ask again from your cousin Gaby. He might help.
No. I can't. He promised to buy me a laptop if I perform exceptionally well in grade 8.
Tobias, you may lay-by your shoes and pay end of the month when your aunt gives you your money. Lay-by means you pay the item with the amount you have, and the items will be kept in the shop until you settle the outstanding amount.
Oh, so I can do that. Thanks, Juniors, for the information.
Good morning, class. Good morning, miss. Please sit down. What is the matter?
Sorry, miss. We were discussing about lay-by of items in shops. Juniors helped me to understand the meaning of lay-by, and I will lay-by my shoes tomorrow. It seems it's a good method of buying things if you do not have enough cash at the moment.
Thank you, Tobias. All right, class. That was a good way to introduce our discussion for today, which is a financial transaction. We have two types of financial transactions, such as cash transactions and credit transactions. Let's explain the different types of cash financial transactions and give examples for each. Juniors, please tell us.
Yes, miss. When we use service in retails, we pay goods in cash, meaning cash transactions. Involves a straight exchange of money or for goods, or the payments offered could be either using coins, notes, and debit cards. There are two types of cash transactions, such as cash with order and cash on delivery.
Very good, juniors. Let's dwell with the second types of cash transactions called cash with order means. The payment for these transactions must accompany the order, which means is effect that the payment is in advance. This is normally used when ordering by mail. It is a fairly risky transactions as one has not seen the goods before paying and they could take long to arrive. No discount are given in this case. Cash on delivery means the consumer must pay for the goods ordered in full on delivery. This applies to larger articles that need to be delivered or goods ordered by phone or post. Payment could be done by cash. Let's continue. Tobias, define and give examples of credit transactions.
The credit transactions is the method of obtaining goods and services immediately and pay in the future. For example, monthly, yearly, or means buying goods without having to pay cash for them. The types of credit transactions are installment sales transactions, account or charge account, open book account, lay-bys, and credit card.
Very good, Tobias. Let us discuss the types of credit transactions one by one. Installment sale transactions used for expensive items such as buying a car, furniture, house appliances. The buyer has to pay a deposit and sign an agreement to pay monthly installments. Lay-by means the consumers make payment until the item is fully paid for, after which he or she may take the item from the store. Credit cards are used on variety of purpose, paying for mails, groceries, and repairs. It is acceptable as cash by dealer. There are advantages and disadvantages of cash and credit transactions. Describe the advantages of cash transactions. Juniors, please tell us.
Yes, ma'am. We have many advantages of cash transactions. You shop where you like and not restricted.
Thank you, juniors. Let us look at the advantages and disadvantages of cash and credit transactions. The advantages of cash transactions eliminates paying account, and you will not have a concern about paying debts. It helps to manage finances better. You will be aware of your expenditure and save more. The advantages of credit transactions is convenient and used to meet emergencies. The disadvantages of cash transactions are the method that can be unsafe to use. It is inconvenient to have ready cash available, and cash stores do not deliver. The disadvantages of credit transactions is that it is expensive, can be easily misused. The indiscriminate use can lead to debt. There is temptation to buy more than necessary. Mostly no discount and repossession of goods cause loss of money. Class, what did we learn today? Topius, please tell us.
Today we learned about the two types of financial transactions, the different types of cash transactions and credit transactions. Credit transactions include installment sale transactions, account or charge account, open book account, lay-bys, and credit cards. Cash transactions include cash on delivery and cash with order. The advantages and disadvantages of cash transactions and credit transactions.
And that brings us to the end of today's program. But before we say goodbye, here are your questions for today. Name two types of credit transactions and describe the disadvantages of carrying money. This program was written by Heta Maria Ita Shemuketa. Until next time, take care.
This program was brought to you by NAMCOL with funding from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture and the Commonwealth of Learning.